So joining me right now, we have Democratic Congressman from California, Robert Garcia. He is a member of the House Oversight and Transportation Committees. Welcome to you, Congressman. So let me ask you about this. What do you think the goal is of Elon Musk right now in trying to have people account for what they do during the day?
I think all of this comes back down to Elon Musk trying to shrink the federal government, create as much quote unquote savings as he can, and then take all of that work, all of those resources, and then redistribute them as a massive tax package for himself, his billionaire buddies, and essentially all his companies. I mean, this is all about taking wealth, taking resources from the federal government in programs that actually are helping working people, and then give those in a huge tax to himself. And he himself has said he wants to eliminate $2 trillion from the government. Well, there's no way of doing that unless you dramatically reduce programs for working people, programs like Medicaid, like Medicare, like Social Security. And he's doing that by damaging our government workers. If there's not people doing the work, these programs then suffer. So it's completely inhumane what he's doing, by the way. No compassion, no thought about these people that are working hard to deliver services. And quite frankly, it's crazy that this is his approach.
So you're offering reasons for him doing it, but is it legal? Are there security concerns for this directive?
There are massive security concerns. And we're also, of course, a lot of this is being taken to the courts, rightly so, because he is over and over again, essentially putting out directives that are unconstitutional and illegal. In this case, and I'm glad to see, you're actually having agencies push back. I mean, the fact that the State Department, the FBI, other agencies are essentially pushing back and saying, do not respond to this. It is the right approach.
But my question on there, are we now going to see some sort of, I guess Vaughn used the word Fisher, are you going to see Director Patel, Secretary of State Rubio now, thinking, we're going up against this guy, and how will that play out?
Well, I think I would hope that Republicans would gain the courage to actually stand up for their workers. I mean, at the end of the day, Secretary Rubio represents a State Department. There are, as you know, tons of people in that department, thousands and thousands of people working abroad and here at home to protect our best interests, our national security, our diplomacy. He has a mission. He should be standing up for his people. So I'm glad that actually happened. But at the end of the day, the responsibility lies with Donald Trump. So did Donald Trump know that Elon Musk was going to send out this email, that essentially his Doge bros were going to send out this email? It's crazy.
Here's the reason why it may have been a cause-effect, because the emails were Elon Musk's first action after the president said on X that he wanted to see him get more aggressive. How much further do you think Musk could go? And what are you hearing from your constituents? Are they equally frustrated by Musk and his actions and the Democrats' inability to push back?
Yeah, I mean, Alex, I received numerous messages from federal workers screenshotting, forwarding me the email that they received. I mean, people are very concerned. Workers, remember, the federal workforce also is not just based in D.C. It's all across the country. It's in blue states. It's in red states. There are people that voted for Donald Trump, Republicans, that are sitting back going, what the hell did we just do? So you are beginning to see some pushback and understanding that what Donald Trump and Elon Musk want to do is to destroy our institutions and remake the government and shrink it so they can give huge tax breaks to billionaires and Elon Musk. Let's be really clear about what their goal actually is here. But look, we are causing massive alarm. Attorney generals are coming in from the states. We're winning some of these lawsuits. We're going to continue to push the legal strategy and continue to be aggressive and not back down on Elon Musk. What we have to do is fight fire with fire, be tough and be aggressive, fight Elon Musk and Donald Trump every chance that they push, we got to push back.
So that's something you have been doing. But as a result, you received a letter last week from acting U.S. Attorney for D.C., Ed Martin, asking you to clarify in part some comments that you made to CNN when you said what the American public wants is for us to bring actual weapons to this bar fight. This is an actual fight for democracy. Then Martin says in the letter, hey, sounds to some like a threat to Mr. Musk. What do you think he's looking to achieve by sending you this letter, and have you responded?
I mean, look, we all use metaphors. I mean, and there's no reasonable person that would hear what I said and think that was threatening in any way. It was obviously a metaphor, a figure of speech. I mean, come on. It's pretty clear. I think what Donald Trump and his Justice Department are trying to do is to silence critics. It's to silence folks who are going to take on Elon Musk. We're going to take on Donald Trump and his policies. And this idea that metaphors are threatening, yet he's going to pardon the insurrectionists, that the U.S. attorney who sent that letter actually defended January 6th insurrectionists. That is what they're going after, is figures of speech and metaphors. It's pretty crazy.
Joining me now is Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen, a member of the Budget, Appropriations, and Foreign Relations Committees. Senator, it's awfully good to have you here, sir. I'm curious your reaction to what you just heard. Is this spiraling national debt justification for these mass firings?
Well, Alex, it's good to be with you. No, that's all a big lie that they're putting out there because, of course, they're pursuing big tax cuts for very rich people that would add hugely to our deficit. You know, as Hakeem Jeffries said, candidate Trump said he was going to bring down prices. He's not doing that. What he is doing is cutting with a chainsaw important services that benefit every American to make room for those tax cuts for the very rich. And so they want to cut things like Medicaid, Medicare, and on top of that, they will add to the deficit and debt.
So let's get your reaction to Elon Musk's email to hundreds of thousands of federal workers, asking them to explain what they've accomplished over the last week at work. I'm curious your reaction to that and what you think the impact will be to thousands of federal workers in your state, in Maryland there, as well as across the country, from these sweeping cuts.
Well, Alex, this is part of what is an illegal rampage by Elon Musk across these federal agencies. And again, the purpose is twofold. One is to make government work for people like Elon Musk, right? They want to get rid of the inspector generals and they want to make way for taking actions to help people like Elon Musk. The other is to clear the way for tax cuts for the very rich. So this has nothing to do with government efficiency and everything to do with, again, making the government work for Musk. Now, yeah, as you said, this most recent order from Elon Musk it's illegal. You even have the new FBI director, right, Patel, saying to his employees, no, Elon Musk doesn't get to do this. You respond to your supervisors. Elon Musk is not, part of the Constitution. He didn't go through the advice and consent process, which is why federal judges have already indicated that there are serious questions about the legality of his whole operation. And I think we need to shut it down.
I want to dig into the legal aspect because many Democrats are sounding the alarm about President Trump and Elon Musk using executive power, claiming their withholding of congressionally approved funding and then firing federal workers, that it is illegal. It's driving the government into some sort of a constitutional crisis. Are we there yet, sir? Or are the courts working as a check to presidential power and keeping away that crisis for now?
Well, we're there in the sense that Donald Trump has issued all of these executive orders, which anybody can see he doesn't have the power to do. I mean, he's trying to do things by executive order that require congressional action and the normal process. I do think that the courts have been responding well. I mean, when you have this mass illegality, you're seeing all these lawsuits and all these temporary restraining orders. One of them, as you just indicated, relates to the Trump administration's effort to withhold funds for important community priorities around the country. There's a TRO on that. And there are also issues with respect to their firing of these federal employees. Federal employees have due process rights, and Elon Musk and his cohorts are just lying about what they're doing. And there are, for example, for a federal employee, you fire them because of misconduct or poor performance. And they're sending out these letters claiming federal employees haven't performed adequately when those federal employees just received glowing performance reports. So they're lying, and this is an illegal operation.
Let's take a look at the sweeping budget plan that's being put forth by the House, because it could result in some pretty steep cuts to Medicaid, to food stamps, to other social safety net programs. What would this proposed $2 trillion in spending cuts mean for average Americans? I'm curious the concerns that you're hearing from constituents. And do you think this budget will get through?
Well, I'm glad you raised this because we were up to about 5:30 a.m. in the United States Senate. The Republicans brought forward their so-called budget resolution, which is clearly setting things up for these huge tax breaks for very rich Americans at the expense of everybody else. And so we tried to put some guardrails around it. So, for example, we said, well, don't cut Medicare, don't cut Medicaid. I offered an amendment so you wouldn't cut school lunches for kids. And one after another, Republicans refused to put up those guardrails. So it's very clear what their plan is. Their plan is to provide Elon Musk and all those other billionaires who were sitting right behind Donald Trump when he was sworn in with these big tax cuts at the expense of everybody else in America.
So, folks, members of Congress, guys, they are tearing in. And I think this is so important. Democrats were given a great opportunity from Trump, and they need to seize on it. And some of the best ones are. It's not purely ideological. Like some of the moderate Democrats, like your Pat Ryans, have been really good. It seems to mostly be the progressives that are really on it, but that's besides the point. The point is, Democrats need a rock solid, here is how Trump, not philosophically, and I'm not saying that doesn't matter, but not in the broad, threat to decency, threat to democracy, threat to American values, here is how Trump is ruining your life on a day-to-day, frankly, minute-to-minute, hour-to-hour basis. And here's what we're going to do, which is a mixture of just not doing what Trump is going to do, but also X, Y, and Z. And this is where you lay out an economic populist program. You don't abandon people of color and you don't abandon the LGBTQ community, but you say, here's our plan. Trump wants to gut government programs. We're going to save them and make them better. Trump wants to gut Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, blah, blah, blah. We're going to save them and make them better. Trump has tried to ruin your life, and so has his buddy Elon. We are going to stop them, and we're going to make it better. And we need you to keep the protests going, because let's be clear. This is not primarily because of Democrats in Congress. It isn't. The reason why this is getting so much energy is because of protesting. Now, some Democratic members of Congress joined the protests, and that's great. We saw that. But this is being driven primarily by you. Democrats, though, the smarter ones, are tapping into it. Trump is now realizing that he has lit the powder keg. He is more unpopular now, in some ways, than ever before, and he's only 1 month in.